Hi there, this is Sheila Kennedy, and I am here from the Zebra Inc. for our next episode of Meet the Author Showcase. And with me today, I have an amazing author who is going to be shedding some light on a social topic that I don't think many people know about. Her name is Shirley Fessel, and she's here with me today. And Shirley, welcome. Thank you so much for being with me. And tell us about your book. Name, show us what it looks like, and tell us why you wrote it.
Thank you, Sheila. I so appreciate being able to talk with you.
My pleasure.
This is the opus.
All right, there we go. Redemption from Biblical Battering. Now that doesn't seem like the typical romance novel. Tell us a little bit about what happened. Why did you write that book?
You know, I was talking to a cover artist and he had a like Hallmark cover, and I said, no. Well, biblical battering is the misuse of the Bible and religious concepts to enforce coercive control. And you don't hear about it because it's 1 in 4 members in the church actually are affected. And it's not about faith, and it's not about marriage. Faith is used as a tool by the abuser because the woman or man values it. And the marriage is just the setting because it's very difficult to get out of a marriage. So that helps reinforce the abuser's control. That's what biblical battering is. And, you know, 20 years ago, nobody heard about domestic abuse. Well, no one hears now about religion being misused to enforce harm. And so it's a very complex web of confusion to work through.
That it is. Now, this is quite the topic. So what made you tackle this topic?
Well, I was married to an abusive minister. And of course, at that time, there wasn't anything out there. And of course, it took me several years to raise my kids and get out of debt and all that kind of thing. But what I had to do actually was go back to school and get a master's in communication and master's in counseling while I was in the marriage to understand what was going on. And so there are 7 levels of confusion that you have to work through. And the first level was not even recognizing that you're being abused. I remember calling a hotline or a prayer line and asking, is this abuse? I described what was happening, and they said, yes, it is. But then a whole bunch of other stuff comes in. So there may be memoirs or whatever out there, but I felt like because these women are not going to come forward, there's a lot of shame around it. They may have been told that to go to counseling is you know, they're going to wreck their faith, or they maybe have been told, don't bring shame on the church or whatever. They don't tend to seek help from other domestic violence resources. So I developed this process, and I wanted to describe it in a way that a woman by herself in her home, isolated, could have something to work through to help her make her way. And so that's why I did a workbook format.
Well, Shirley, I am sorry that you had to experience that, but what a beautiful way to make purpose out of all of the pain that I'm sure that you endured, and how many people you are going to be able to help and touch. And it just speaks to your selflessness, and really appreciate that you are shining some light on this very detrimental topic. So I appreciate that so much.
I appreciate you.
No, thank you. I'm sure that I'm not the only one that's giving you feedback about this. book, and that you've gotten reviews and things like that. And is there anything that any one of them that you would like to share with us that meant something to you special, or that kind of thing? I would love for you to share with us today.
Well, what means the most to me is that the readers say it works.
Mm,
They said it's effective and it's very easy it's accessible.
Yeah.
Because it's in a modular format.
Mhm.
You can pick it up at whatever level you are.
Beautiful.
And it's also proven because it's what I used.
Right.
And of course, I have survivor stories on my website. And you can look at the reviews. Those are also on the website. But that meant the most to me because when you're in that kind of prison
Mhm.
and emotional and mental and spiritual turmoil where your very soul is being attacked, you don't have time to read romance novels. You know what I'm saying? You don't have time to engage.
Right.
You're trying to survive.
Right.
And so this is a book that you can easily pick up, put down, go back to, and work your way through your confusions, which are tormenting you actually.
Right.
Because women feel like I made a vow, I want to be a good wife, I want to be a good Christian wife.
Sure.
Or can I save him? Or Jesus said I had to forgive 70 times 7. All these things run through your mind
Mm-hmm.
where you don't know if you have, whether it's okay for you to choose your own well-being, actually.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. I love that you have been able to get that feedback because sometimes we put our books and our heart and souls into our books and we put it out there and we're never sure how it's going to be received. And so to get that this works and this is effective and this has helped me is probably the one thing that every author longs to hear. So I'm really glad that you got that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me if there's one thing that you would want your readers to know, what would that be?
It is not God's will
Mm.
for you to be abused by your husband or whoever. It's not God's will for a husband to be abused by his wife. You're not called to obey life, something that diminishes your soul. And my faith is that Christ did not die for me to live like this, and that my concept of Christ is life abundant. My diminishing myself serves no good purpose. My spiritual life is to show the wonderful blessings that we have and the guidance, the fruits of the Holy Spirit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
My spiritual life aims to reveal or express the fruits of the Holy Spirit.
Love it. I love it. And those are accessible to anybody that wants to claim them, and also those that read the book and work through it, because it just reminds you that you were not made to live a life of pain and abuse. And so I really appreciate that part. So Shirley, tell us, how do you like to spend time? What's your favorite way to spend time when you're not writing a book?
Well, I have 3, and I'm sure I'm the only Nana that this has happened to, but I have 3 grandgirls
Oh,
who are going to take the world and just bring it up to par.
well, of course,
And
they're going to follow Grandma's suit.
and then I love nature. I just feel that nature is right there showing me God and the peace and meditation and quiet and guidance and solace I get from being in nature is important to me.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. And if your readers wanted to connect with you, Shirley, how is the best way for them to do that?
Well, please do. I have a Facebook page called Redemption from Biblical Battering, which is the same as the title of the workbook.
Okay.
And I have a blog on my website, shirleyfessel.com.
Okay.
And I love to have people give feedback on the blogs and contact me so that we can support each other.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's awesome. Well, Shirley, thank you so much for being here. You are such a beautiful soul, and I'm so grateful that you put what was laid on your heart into your book and have made that accessible to everybody that needs it. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you being here with us today. And I am so looking forward to seeing what comes next for you. Is there any parting words that you have for you, the audience today?
Let's do this. Let's support each other. It's too hard to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Everybody needs other caring people to help them with this. I would like the church women to understand that pastors or leaders are not on a solid footing. They depend on the goodwill of the congregation and the board members, but the women of the church, their livelihood is not tied to that. So they have more freedom to speak out and to support any sisters in the congregation that may be going through this. And you don't have to, buy them a ticket to Europe or anything. If you want to give them a hug, give them, just say, if you need to talk, I'm here. Anything like that means so much. One woman in the church told me that, if you decide to leave, I'm here.
Nice.
And I had 3 children. She was willing to do that, but everyone's not able to do that, but that doesn't mean there's nothing that you can do. A listening ear goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful thing. And I really appreciate that. And thank you for sharing your experience and your story and your book with us today. And we will be sure to check out your website, shirleyfessel.com. Don't forget that. And you can pick up the book on the website, or should they go to Amazon?
Either way.
Okay. All right. Well, definitely go pick up if you know someone that is experiencing trouble or biblical battering or abuse.
I must say that the Kindle is very reasonable. It's only $5.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, it's both hardback or paperback and Kindle.
Perfect.
So.
Perfect. And so definitely go pick up this resource. It's amazing. Shirley's amazing. I'm glad that you got to get to know her today. Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Meet the Author Showcase. And we will be back again soon with the next episode. Thanks so much, and bye for now.